Hello, and welcome to Applause Performances, IdeaStream Public Media's monthly spotlight on musicians living and working in Northeast Ohio. I'm IdeaStream's David C. Barnett, welcoming you. Glad to have you aboard here on this beautiful fall day. Now, we got a guy named ALVIN FRAZIER with us today. He grew up in Collinwood, and he loved to watch shows as a kid, American Bandstand, Soul Train. And one of the groups that ALVIN saw on those programs was a Cleveland-based group right from here in his own town, the Dazz Band. And little did he know that ultimately, when he grew up, he'd end up working with them. He'd be gigging with them as their bass player. And it all happened because of Instagram. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as the show goes on. But today, the main focus is on ALVIN and his new album, River. He's going to be playing some music for us from that particular conflagration of music and jazz and coolness and R&B, soul singing and that sort of thing. ALVIN, we look forward to it today. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you for having me, Dave. I'm looking forward to it.
As you're watching us, we're looking for you, dear reader. I'm calling you a reader. I'm talking old school. As you're watching us today, we'd like to know where you're watching from, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, and if, as we're talking, if anything occurs to you that you'd like to know more about ALVIN and his musical history, we'd like to hear from you. Give us a call, if only to say, hey, you're liking what you're listening to, what you're watching today. ALVIN, let's jump in and talk about you as a kid. Okay. And I understand that as a little boy, you would like to hold up a physical thing. We're very much into digital these days, but back in the day, you were looking at those albums from your dad's collection.
Yeah.
And you were examining the labels and looking really close at them. What did you get out of that?
You know, it's crazy because I was one of those strange kids, into stuff like that. But for me, I just got a kick out of being able to know the addresses of where these record labels were located, and even the publishing companies. Even though I didn't know what publishing was, I just would see that on the record all the time, so I could, after a while, I would know what publishing companies belong to which record companies. And so much so with all this record label stuff, like if someone held up a record from like a block away, I could tell what label it was just by the colors and the design of it. So that's kind of the kid I was. I was really intrigued by records in every sense of the word.
Well, what were you thinking? That like, where is this mysterious place where these records are made, or what were you thinking?
I think all of that, because it was still, being a kid, you're like, well, how did they get the music on there?
Yeah.
I remember sitting next to the stereo and trying to picture what the group looked like if I've never seen them before, And it's funny when you hear someone on the radio on a record and then you see them, they look nothing like the way that they sounded. So that would kind of always trip me out. But, I would still be curious. And one day I hope to, be on the record myself. So that was kind of something I was always wishing in the back of my mind also.
Were there certain labels that really jumped out at you that you liked?
Yeah, of course, like Motown.
Yeah, very, very visually cool.
Very Gordy, Atlantic Records, Curtime Records, which was Curtis Mayfield's label, and I was really, really almost infatuated with Stax Records. I really, really love Stax Records out of Memphis.
And I understand you were showing off to your mom too. You're kind of like the house DJ with your records. How so? Yeah,
so I've always been a night owl, right?
Okay.
And my mom would always try to get me to go to bed for school, like most parents, do. And I just couldn't do it. So I learned how to work around that. So if my mom had a gathering where she had some friends over, I was already experienced with playing records, right? I knew how to handle them. I knew, not to touch the grooves, just to hold the sides and be delicate with placing them on the turntable. I could play 45s. I can play the LPs, so I had some finesse. So, of course, my mom, if she's entertaining her guests, she didn't want to have to get up and walk over to the record player every few minutes. That's where I came in at. I'm like, Mama, can I stay up? I'll play records for y'all. I'll play records for y'all. And she'll say, yeah, go ahead and play some records. And that's how I'm able to stay up, listen to some more music, listen to adult conversations that I shouldn't have probably been listening to because I'm nosy as a kid. So it worked well for me, man. It was
you weren't
gig.
Like performing then, we're playing what we call a DJ these days, like saying, and now next, ladies and gentlemen, or anything like that.
No, I wasn't announcing anything. I was just kind of like, playing records saying, hey, y'all want to hear this one? Yeah. Now put that one on.
Well, okay. So this is a little bit of background on the young man who was looking at the records, listening to the records. Let's hear about the older man who's playing some music of his own today. Tell us about, first of all, who's there with you in the background, the guy with the hat on?
So we have a good friend of mine and bandmate, Mr. Jordan Wright, is going to be accompanying me today on keyboard.
Hey, Jordan.
Great musician.
And what are we going to hear? What's the first song? Tell us a little bit about it.
So the first song is Against the Wall, which is off my new album, River, and it's actually the title, the opening track on the album. And Against the Wall is like a precautionary tale, Dave. Uh-oh. Like, there are some people who on the weekends, go out looking for fun at clubs and things like that, and it's club love, as we call it. I don't recommend it. Don't do it. But you got people who go out looking for club love on the weekends, and this song kind of tells the story of a guy who normally does that, and his father forewarns him and say, son, watch out, because eventually you're gonna meet your match. And he didn't feel like that was going to be the case. He's like, okay, my dad is older. He's not hip. He don't know what's going on. And lo and behold, he does actually meet that match and ends up falling in love for a girl that he met at the club that was only supposed to be a one-time thing. And yeah, she's got him wide open. So that's what Against the Wall is about.
Let's take a listen.
Okay. From the moment I saw you, I just couldn't take my eyes off of you. I guess I was caught up. A fine, sexy thing, I ain't ashamed to admit it. I had to get to know you. Your energy was drawing me like a trance and pulling me close and wouldn't let go. It's like that, we're up against the wall, loving in the hall, holding on with all of might. That's right, not thinking about tomorrow. Can your body a borrow? Because we've only got tonight. Don't fight, I'm feeling what you're feeling. Tensions up to the ceiling. I feel this thing's about to ignite. Take flight, don't hold back for 1 minute. This may not be extended because we've only got tonight. The way that you were grinding your body on me, it had a brother thinking that I need a sip of something strong, and I ain't even the one to be drinking. It's safe to say you had total no control over my being. Without you, I ain't leaving. But because it's like that, we're up against the wall, loving in the hall, holding on with all of might. That's right, not thinking about tomorrow. Can your body a borrow? Because we've only got tonight. Don't fight, I'm feeling what you're feeling. Tensions up to the ceiling. I feel this thing's about to ignite. Take flight, don't hold back for 1 minute. This may not be extended because we've only got tonight. About a week later, sitting back up in the crib, thinking how bad that I need it. No phone number, last name, I was only supposed to hit and quit it. Now I'm jonesing for more of the good love, but I'm never gonna get it. I should've never did it. But because it's like that, we're up against the wall, loving in the hall, holding on with all of might. That's right, not thinking about tomorrow. Can your body a borrow? Because we've only got tonight. Don't fight, I'm feeling what you're feeling. Tensions up to the ceiling. I feel this thing's about to ignite. Take flight, don't hold back for 1 minute. This may not be extended because we've only got tonight. If I was smart enough, I would've listened to my father when he tried to tell me, don't be running around town tearing all his hearts up before you get caught up. They got this thing going round, I think they call it karma, and son, this show can harm ya. I'll have it all, thinking karma's no match for this charmer. Play. It's like that, we're up against the wall, loving in the hall, holding on with all of might. That's right, not thinking about tomorrow. Can your body borrow? Because we've only got tonight. Don't fight, I'm feeling what you're feeling. Tensions up to the ceiling. I feel this thing's about to ignite. Take flight, don't hold back for 1 minute. This may not be extended because we've only got tonight. Loving up against the wall, down the hall, getting it on, yeah. Loving up against the wall, down the hall, getting it on, yeah. Loving up against the wall, down the hall, getting it on, yeah. Hey. Loving up against the wall, yeah. Getting it on, yeah.
A precautionary tale about club love. Loving up against the wall, because that ain't all, right, Alvin Frazier?
Yeah, that ain't all.
No, you might get something serious going. You gotta be careful about that. Listen to what your father says. So we're listening to the cool and cruel R&B grooves of Mr. Alvin Frazier with songs off his new recording, River. If you like what you're hearing, come back next month. And we do this every single month. On the second Friday of each month, we have a different kind of music for your entertainment at the noontime hour. Next month, little ho, ho, ho for your holidays, we're going to have the University of Akron's Tuba Christmas coming your way on WCPN's Facebook page. We hope you can join us then. If you like what you're hearing right now, we'd like you to share it with your friends as you're watching on Facebook. So give us a little thing like that going on, okay? Let's get back to talking with Alvin and learn a little bit more about his musical history. Your parents were kind of musical influences for you, as I understand it. Alvin
Yes.
and Dorothy, a major part of your. And starting off with your dad, he was a performer. He was a kind of a soulful singer. You call him a harmony king. Tell us about that. Tell us about this person.
Yeah, so my dad, had a group in the mid to late 70s. They were called the Metrics here in town, and they were a 5-man group. Like kind of like in the line of the Temptations. My dad loved the Temps. The Dramatics, the Spinners.
They got choreography
groups
going?
like that. Yeah. So, definitely the 5-man, soul groups. And they would come over to the house and rehearse in our living room. So what they would do is they would come in, stand in a circle. And the sidebar is these cats used to be sharp. Like I've never seen anybody dressed that sharp for rehearsal. They would come with nice shirts on, nice pants, cologne on, like they had a show that night and it would just be a rehearsal. I was amazed by that, how good these guys look. They would be sharp. And then they would get in a circle. My dad would set the key. And they would all kind of go into their different harmonies, man. And they would sound amazing. So me being a little kid, of course, I'm like 2 years old, kind of in the way. So I'm looking up in the circle, standing up, kind of in amazement of everybody. And, naturally, you emulate your father. So me wanting to be like my dad, I wanted to sing too. So one morning I'm in my room and I'm singing and my mom hears me and she goes and gets my dad and they discover that I can hold a tune. So of course, my dad's super excited about that. And immediately he wants to start showing me how to do harmony. I'm just barely able to talk, pretty good. But my dad was so excited about that. He started showing me harmony, and he was really good at that. And so I inherited that from him, that I'm a lover of harmony myself, and I'm really good at arranging it.
So what is he doing? Is he like saying, I'll hit this note, and now you hit this note, or he'll say, you hit a note, and then I'll come right up next to it, or something like that?
He was doing a little bit of both. So if it was difficult, but I kind of caught on fast because when he would sing something, I knew that, okay, from watching him sing with his group, that I should sing something different. It might not have always been right, but I knew that
Yeah.
I needed to sing kind of a different note, and then he would help me to find it, or he'll say, okay, you sing something, son, and let me show you. And then he would do that. And sometimes I didn't want to do harmony. I wanted to go outside and play, you're a kid. You're like, I don't want to do harmony right now. But that was something he would love to do with me, and I'm so glad that he did.
You talk about your mom being kind of the early discoverer of this talented young man. She's also feels like she's kind of a manager figure. She's like your biggest fan, but also she's your biggest critic. Talk about her.
Absolutely. So my mom was a straight shooter. She did not, kind of panic cake. It was like, no, it was like, hey, if it sounded bad, she said, nah, they ain't hitting on nothing now. And if it sounded good, she'll say, I like that, Al. So my mom was real balanced, and she helped me to be really balanced by telling me the truth, not sent me out into the world misinformed, like thinking I'm better than I am if I'm not any good. She was really good about giving me that balance.
Well, let's give an example of that. When this guy, little Alvin FRAZIER, got up on stage for the first time. Tell that story.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's quite a story, man. It's not a very triumphant one, but I'll tell it. So here it is, man. I am 7, and my mom had a friend who kind of worked in music promotion. So, they knew that I can sing. And so they went to my mom and said, hey, there's a festival coming up, and I think we can get Al on there, so people can hear him. Because I was always at home practicing, rehearsing for, these imaginary shows that didn't really exist. So finally, the opportunity came for me to do a festival. I think it was in East Cleveland at like Allegheny Circle. I think it's like some apartments over there. So here's the day of the show, man. I mean, I'm dressed to impress. I mean, I got, my mom has got my clothes hooked up, man. Matching pants, matching shirt,
Got
hair's
that cologne
looking
going?
good, I'm looking like $1 million, right? So he goes out to announce to the crowd, that, hey, we got an amazing young talent getting ready to come out here and sing for y'all, put your hands together for little Alvin FRAZIER. The crowd's clapping. Yeah, he's excited, they're real excited. So they go to send me out. I'm like, no. So my mom shoots me a look, well, she was really good at doing that. And he said, maybe he didn't hear you. I want y'all to put your hands together, everybody. He's going to be right here where I'm standing. Little Alvin FRAZIER, they screamed even louder. Yeah. So now I'm like even more scared. So my mom goes and nudge me out. I'm like, no. My mother looks at me. Being that straightforward person, she's got her hand on her hip, and she's giving me this look that probably would burn a hole in my forehead. And she says, now, I ain't never seen nobody who practice and rehearse every day. Then when it's time for him to perform, he's scared. Ooh. Now, I didn't care. I still wasn't going out there. So my sister, who's very talented as well, she's a few years younger than I am, who didn't rehearse, who didn't practice, but just kind of had this natural ability. My mom says, Francis, go out there and sing something. My sister goes out there, unrehearsed, and sings something, and the crowd loves her.
Oh, no.
And that's how my first show went. My sister upstaged me. So I wasn't happy about that.
Probably took a while to live that down. Oh, man. Well, your sister isn't here today. So
right.
How about you singing another song for us today? What can you play for us now?
So this is another song off the album. This tune is called In the Meantime. And this is a real beautiful ballad about someone who's loved and lost. And you know how sometimes when you've been in love and then that doesn't work out, your hope for love is shaken and you just don't know if it's ever going to find you again. And this song kind of deals with someone who is going through that, and they express it from knowing what it's like to be in love, to seeing others in love, and then finally, love does find them again.
Okay, go for it.
with someone, the world doesn't look quite the same. And in your heart, there's a fire that burns like an eternal flame. There are times when your mind can conceive all the wonders of love life can bring. Oh, in the meantime, till I find someone who can set me free, and then I'll know what they're saying. Oh, it's more than just make believe. There they go to love us, holding hands blissfully. Wonder, do they know what's awaiting down that road of mystery? Will it be all they hope it would be, or is it filled with much misery? Oh, in the meantime, till I find someone who can set me free, and then I'll know what they're saying is more than just make believe. In the meantime, till I find someone who can set me free, and then I'll know what they're saying is more than just make believe. Never thought true love would find its way to my front door, but there you are, so divine. I couldn't have asked for much more. You have opened my eyes to see just how beautiful love life can be. Oh, in the meantime, till I find someone who can set me free, and then I know what they're saying is more than just maybe. In the meantime, 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 oh, in the meantime,
The smooth stylings of cool crooner ALVIN FRAZIER, Mr. Jordan Wright on keyboards backing him up. The song is called In the Meantime. It's from ALVIN's new recording called River. And if you like what you're listening to, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you give us a little thumbs up? Why don't you share what you're watching now with your other friends on Facebook and elsewhere in the social media world. We'd love it. I know ALVIN would love it. We'd get across a little more ALVIN love across the Northeast Ohio landscape. ALVIN, I'm trying to think back. Last time you were in our studios, probably 2008. And you just, at that time, you had an album out. It was called Love and Faith, Volume 1.
Yeah.
Take us back to that time. Who was ALVIN FRAZIER back then in the Volume 1 days?
Oh, man. So, with your first album, it's always discovering what your sound is, Like I knew what my purpose was for that particular project, but it was like still kind of developing and shaping my sound. Like when I listened to that album, one of the things that sticks out to me was how diverse musically it was. And when you're doing your first album, you tend to take a lot more chances because of that, because you're still shaping who you're becoming as an artist and forming your sound. You're taking more chances. So when I go back and listen to that album, one of the things that stick out is like, man, I really took a lot of leaps on that project doing different things just to kind of see what would work and what would stick. And kind of a lot of what I did then has transferred and followed me through each project that I've done. So that was a very exciting time, like the first time hearing myself on the radio, first time being on television, which was on this show on Applause. Mm-hmm. Those first experiences, man, you never forget those, all those are amazing. So when I think back to that album, who I was then, I was green in terms of releasing albums, but I had been recording in some form for, at that time, probably 15, 16 years. And now here we are. I've been probably recording in some form over 30 years now.
Is it giving you more confidence at that time, saying, you know what, I think this might be a go for me?
It definitely does. One of the things that, you have to prepare yourself for when you put out a project is that, you're putting your babies, out before the public, to either love or hate it, and that's scary at first. You like, wait a minute, what if they don't like it? But what if they do like it? You'll never know till you put it out there. So you kind of have to have the courage to move forward, to put your music out there and see what it does, so you can, kind of know, like I said before, what works and what doesn't work. So that was kind of what that did. It gave me a lot of confidence as a producer, as a songwriter, especially as the songs on the album start to become popular, in particular, like I Miss You off that album, and Beautiful, and There Is a Love. And, as those songs begin to, become popular among people who had the project, that kind of lets you know, okay, I think you're onto something here. Stick with it.
And you talk about chasing dreams as being sort of like being a daredevil. Is that sort of what you're talking about here?
Absolutely. You can't, you can't pursue your dreams playing it safe. It's just no way to do it. There's no real success in playing it safe. So you got to be a person who's willing to take risks. And like I said, like you mentioned, Dave, is being a daredevil. You literally kind of running and jumping from one thing, climb up on that, look over, run and jump on to the next thing. That's kind of how you have to do it.
You have carved out in all those years. I mean, you talk about on that first album, you try different things because you don't know kind of what's going to hit. You have tried a number of things. I mean, I look at you even just today. You're this kind of R&B crooner guy. You're the cool jazz guitarist guy. And in addition to that, you're also an actor.
Yes,
Tell us
sir.
about that.
So I also work as an actor. I've been fortunate to, do quite a few stage productions as far as theater is concerned. I've done a little television, done quite a few films. Most recently, Judas and the Black Messiah. That was exciting to do. So I've got quite a few credits.
Yeah. We're getting some credit for you from your various fans who are watching us right now. Let's see who we got here. Okay. Cheryl is watching from Cleveland. Valerie Daniel giving the kind of the this and the hearts and the fire going out. Raquel Scott. Hi, Alvin.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Deborah Ward Harrison. Hi, Alvin.
Oh,
Nicole Stevens. Sing, Alvin, etc., etc. Well, let's it's time. Let's entertain these folks some more. What, you got another song coming up here? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is called River, and this is actually the title track to the album. When I was thinking of a concept for this particular project, I wanted something that would tie all the songs together, right? So the album deals with love overall, but I wanted to tell stories about it from different dynamics, because love isn't always, flowers and all the pretty stuff. Love comes, like we talked about club love, we can talk about, someone who has lost faith in love and looking to regain and reclaim that, you know. And then we're looking at river, which basically talks about someone's affinity toward someone who has opened their eyes and brought love to them on a deeper level, even when they weren't looking for it. You know, this person was happy with being single and comes across this special someone who changes his whole outlook on that, and his passion and depth and the way that he loves her, you know, he likens that to that of a river.
Let's take a trip down that river, Alvin.
All right, let's do it. The sun begins to rise, I look over into your eyes, and I'm thinking it's amazing that you're my lady. And I know that I've been blessed. God has given me the best love that I've ever known before. And just like the stars up in heaven above, nothing can equate to this love. Baby, it's you and me together forever. If you only knew just how much to do to me with just one touch, you'll understand what I'm about to say. I'm gonna love you like a river. That's the way that it flows. Lose all control. My love flows like a river. So wide and so free. So wide and so deep. And just like the moon lights up the night sky, it should come as no surprise. Lady, your heart is where I want to stay. Hey, it really wasn't part of my plan. I was happy as a single man, but it seems as if fate has had its way. All day, you came into my whole world around. I'm so happy about this love I found. You make me smile like I'm floating on a cloud. And because of you, my life will never be the same. Girl, I'm drawn like a moth to a flame. I pray that you understand what I'm about to say. Gonna love you like a river. That's the way that it flows. Lose all control. My love flows like a river. So wild and so free. So wide and so deep. I love you so many different ways. You think you've never been loved before. I'm always gonna hold you down so you don't have to look no further. So let me be the one you need, sugar. I'm hoping you can clearly see that my love flows just like a river. That's the way that it flows. Way that it flows, and it can lose all control. My love flows like a river. So wild and so free, lady. So wide and so deep. I said my love flows like a river. The way that it flows makes you lose all control. My love flows like a river. Wild and so free. So wide and so deep. So my love flows like a river. Like a river. So my love flows like a river. Like a river. flows like a river, like a river. My love flows like a river, like a river. My love flows like a river.
Flowing Down That River, Alvin Frazier. It's a title tune to his new recording, talking about the depths of love and the wildness of love, and you got to learn how to navigate it. Helping Alvin navigate the musical today is Jordan Wright back there on keyboards. Well, let's circle back, Alvin, to something we talked about towards the beginning of our conversation.
Okay.
That you, as a kid, were a big fan of a group called the Dazz Band. It used to be called the Kinsman Dazz Band way early.
Yeah, I remember your story about them.
Little did you know that your life would circle around and hit those people again, and that you would become involved with these people.
Right.
And it happened through Instagram. Talk about that. How did that even happen?
Man, so, on Instagram, a lot of people are doing bass videos. Like, that's really like the hot thing,
Yep.
People, it's trending. So people do bass videos where they play bass guitar up against different records, and a lot of it is kind of funk, a lot of slap. And, it gets your numbers up and things like that. So I kind of amusingly did a video back in April just to kind of say, well, I know most people know me as this crooner, this singer, and they know me as this jazz guitar player. But I'm like, some people may have forgot that, I'm also a bass player as well. So I said, well, I'm going to do a video just to remind people like, yo, your boy plays bass too. Not really for numbers, just for something to do. So I did a video in April, I think of Steely Dan, like a 30-second reel. And then I did another one in May, which was like, Is It You by Lee Ritenour, if you remember that tune, great tune. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm kind of thinking, I'm the kind of person that always likes to go left. If everybody's doing one thing, I'm kind of the guy that wants to do the other thing. So I'm kind of like swimming upstream. I just feel like you have greater impact when you kind of go your own way. So I get to the third one, which was in May, and top of June, I'm sorry. And I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one of my favorite songs, another favorite, which was Gamble With My Love by the Dazz Band. I said, man, there's something about that ballad that I just love it. So I said, I'm going to go ahead and do a bass video for that particular tune. So I recorded the whole song like I would do all of them, but I would only put 30 seconds. I put 30 seconds up on Instagram, kind of for people just to enjoy the song. Like, if you haven't heard it before, this is a great tune by the Dazz. Check it out. I think you'll dig it. If you haven't heard it in a while, it's a reminder, hey, remember this song. So maybe a few days later, after I posted the video, I woke up to a notification that the Dazz had mentioned me in a comment. I said, the Dazz, I didn't even know they had an Instagram account. So I look and I see that they had reposted the video of me playing Gamble. And then they also put it in their story. So, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, oh, the Dazz Bands, saw my video. I never intended for them to see it. I didn't, I hashtagged them because I wanted people to know where the song came from. But I never in my mind thought that they would ever hear the song.
It was just out of pure love. You weren't weren't on the make to do something.
No, I wasn't. It was just like, hey, this is a great song, y'all. I love the bass line. It feels good. I always sang it. So I said, well, I'm going to play it. And so, I didn't know that would get their attention. And a few weeks later, management reached out to send me a inbox on Instagram, basically saying, to give them a call, which is our manager, Gina, and the founder, Bobby Harris, like, give us a call, like, to have a conversation with you about a possible, opportunity. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, it's not a gig. It must be like a Let It Whip contest coming up or something, like I'm thinking it's something along the lines like promotional. So I call, have this conversation. And in that conversation, they mentioned that they saw the video, that they were impressed by it. And I'm scratching my head like, you're thinking you got to really open up and do a lot of extra stuff, sometimes, even though I kind of know better than that, but it was still kind of over my head. I thought I would have had to at least do like a Let It Whip video or something, because
Right.
it's probably about 10, 20,000 Let It Whip videos on Instagram, and that's probably lowballing, like seriously. And so it took maybe 3 conversations. They didn't know this, but it was like 3 conversations before it really was like, okay, this is really about to happen. Like this is really, really moving forward, And here we are, I'm touring with them, and we're working on new music and getting ready for celebrate the 40th anniversary of Let It Whip next year. So we got quite a few things planned around that. It's like a dream, man. It's like a dream being there.
Wow, that's interesting. 40th anniversary. We got to do something with that.
Yeah, man.
That's great. That's very cool. So what is it like working with your idols?
It's amazing, man. I mean, Skip Martin has always been one of my vocal influences since I was a kid. Since the first time I heard the Dazz Band, I was playing records for my mom, and I remember putting on this 45 by this group called the Dazz Band. Didn't know they were from Cleveland, and there was a song called "Invitation to Love," and I remember listening to the way that
I remember.
It's a great song, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember listening to it and like, man, everything about it, from the horns to the way the background vocal sounds, the way the music. And I'm a kid, but I was tuned into that. And then when Skip came in to sing his lead, I'm like, man, he sings with so much emotion. It reached me as a 6-year-old, like, wow, this guy's he really feels what he's singing about. And he's been a favorite of mine since that time, so being able to work with him is amazing. Bobby Harris, the leader and founder of the group, who's been there from day one, yep. Kinsman Dazz through now, yep. Has been amazing. Has really taken me under his wing and taught me so much in the time I've been there, shared so much great information and stories with me, and providing me the opportunity to not only be there, but to contribute, So like working with him is amazing. He's such a knowledgeable guy, and probably one of the coolest older guys I know. It's like even though he's older than I am, but he's so agile and so youthful. It's like literally like I'm talking to someone that's my age or younger. He's a very, very hip guy, very cool guy. Keith Harrison in the group, who's from a group called FRAZIER and Heat Wave, and also, contributed quite a few hits to the Dazz. Marlon McClain from a group called Pleasure. He's an amazing guitar player. Donnie Sykes, who's a recent vocalist they added to the group a few years ago. It's an amazing band. Raymond Calhoun from the Gap Band, he wrote Outstanding. He's in the band as well. So it's a great crew of guys, man, that I'm constantly learning for whenever we get together. So, they make sure they ride me because I'm the new guy. But it's all good. It's all family. It's all love, man. We have a great time on the road together.
Well, what did Bobby Harris and the other Cleveland guys think when they heard that you're from Cleveland?
So from what I'm told, they didn't know I was from Cleveland initially. It was kind of like this guy has something that we like. And then it was like, where's he from? And then it was discovered I was from Cleveland. So for Bobby, he was like, yeah, he's got that Cleveland thing. That was what he said when I first talked to him. He's like, he's got that edge that, he told me when I saw the video, he's like, I could see the way you approach playing the record and just the attitude of it all. And he's like, I recognize that because him being from Cleveland. And right now at this point in the group, he and I are the bookends from Cleveland, right? We're the only 2 members that are from Cleveland, Ohio that are currently in the group. So I know that meant a lot to him too, that not only did they like what they saw, but I actually happened to be from his hometown where the group started.
You've got this new album, River, and it came together during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Is it different because of that?
In some instances, yeah. You're locked in, man.
Yeah, right.
With writing and creating songs for me, generally, they kind of come to me, over a matter of months. I like to kind of write when I'm inspired. I like to produce when I'm inspired. But with the pandemic, you got a lot of inspiration because you couldn't go nowhere. So you're at home. So I was like, okay, I need to finish this album. I started half of it before I moved to New York back in 2016. And then I didn't record again for about 4 years. And then when I resumed last year in 2020, the ideas that I was working with in 2015, 2016 were slightly different in 2020. You know, different inspiration, you know, different concepts, which I felt was great because it gave the album, you know, again, that much more diversity to make it a more interesting listen while still being tied into the theme of love and the river theme. So yeah, it was different in that regard because I was forced to buckle down and just kind of be in the studio just working things out, man. And I was able to cut like a lot of songs. Like the second half of the album, I cut them like all kind of like the demos right back to back. Like literally I probably had 5, 6, 7 songs recorded in about a month's time. Because, you know, when you do an album, you record more songs than you release. So the album is officially 11 tracks, but I think I did 17 actually.
Can we sneak in another song?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. Tell us about it. What is this song?
So this song is Lost in Love. And this was the debut single from this album. And I love this record. It's about basically kind of unfinished business. You know, you got a guy who was in a relationship with a young lady, and for whatever reason, they decided to go to different ways, or maybe he wasn't ready for what she was ready for at the time. As a term I like to say, maybe the right love at the wrong time. So she moved on, you know, to do what was in her best interest. And she gets the new guy. New guy's great. You know, she doesn't have to go through the same hang up she had to deal with the other guy. But the caveat is, Dave, that the new guy doesn't reach her the way that the ex did.
There you go.
You know, he doesn't touch her heart. He doesn't spark that passion in her like the other guy, you know, because she still loves him, but she's felt like, okay, I don't know if I'm ever going to get what I want from him. So I need to move on. You know, I don't want to leave, but I feel like I got to leave. And so he finally comes to a point where he's ready. And he doesn't know if she's available or not, but he wants to see her just to talk to her and see what's going on in her world. And in that meeting, he discovers that he's not alone in what he's feeling.
Let's take a listen to Lost in Love.
Check this out. It's lost in your love, yeah. Hello, how you doing? Girl, it's been a while. You're still looking so beautiful that I can't help but smile. So tell me how life's treated you. Ooh, since we've been apart, baby. I guess what I'm trying to say, girl, does someone have your heart? See, so she goes on and on about a man that she's seeing and all of their future plans. But I tuned it all out, cause I'm thinking about the love that we share. And all of those late nights and early mornings when we were together and so in love. And I still remember how it feels to be lost inside of your love, babe. Lost in your love. So deep that I can't find my way out. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna leave it wrapped inside of your love, baby. Love, oh, I can't see love in nobody else but you, and no one else will do, baby. There's something about the way you said his name. I heard it in your voice, girl. That's what gave it away. Are you really happy? Ooh, you've got to tell me the truth, baby. Cause ain't no sense in lying, lady. Because I know you. So you can deny it all that you want. But those eyes are telling me everything you want. And you know he's not the one. If he was, you wouldn't be here with me. Oh no, oh, I can tell that you feel the same way I do. 'Cause the fire still burns between me and you. And I still remember how it feels to be lost inside of your love, baby. Lost in your love. So deep that I can't find my way out. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna leave and wrap inside your love, baby. Love, I can't see love in nobody else but you. No one else will do, baby. I said I'm lost in your love. So deep that I can't find my way out. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna leave and wrap inside your love, baby. Love, oh, I can't see love in nobody else but you. And no one else will do, baby. No, baby. I don't wanna let you go, no, no, no. So lost inside you, baby. Oh, yeah, yeah. So lost inside your love. Lost in your love. So deep that I can't find my way out. I don't wanna go, I don't wanna leave it raptured inside your love, lady. Can't see love in nobody else but you. And no one else would do, baby. I said I'm lost inside of your love. So deep that I don't wanna get out. A love so sweet, I don't wanna leave. Can't you see what you are doing to me? I'm lost inside of your love. I can't see love in nobody else but you, girl. And no one else will do.
Alvin Frazier on guitar and vocals, Jordan Wright on keyboards, singing Lost in Love. Lisa just sent us a note saying she loves to roller skate to that song.
Ah, nice, nice.
David Dillard says, way to represent. I'm sure he's talking about many different things when he's talking about representing.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
That song, Lost in Love, I hear it's getting a little action. It's from your new album, River, your new recording, River, and I hear it's getting a little action across the country.
Yeah, man, it's doing well, man. Shout out to my guy, Myron Ruffin, and his company for, really, really pushing this record to get it, on radio stations across the country, man. So it's getting quite a bit of buzz, getting some really, really great reviews out there, man. So you can't ask for more than that, especially when it's been a while since you came out with an album. And, want to make sure you still got it. So I think I'm still in there. I think I'm still all right.
I think so. The past hour, I think people have been learning that. You got a tour coming up?
Yeah, so we are working on a River tour next year that we're going to kick off. And then, of course, the Dazz is going to be touring for the 40th anniversary tour of Let It Whip. So, yeah, it's going to be quite a juggling act, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm really excited about getting on the road to promote this River album and getting out there in front of the people so they can hear the songs. And I'm glad I was able to share the songs today in an acoustic way where people can really hear what the lyrics sound like, what I sound like, and can really enjoy the composition of the song. So I appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
The real meaning of the song, too, right? I think you can get into the words and the grooves. We thank you so much, Alvin and Jordan, for joining us today. And that's Jordan Wright on keyboards and Alvin Frazier on vocals and cool guitar. And for more on Alvin and his music, you can visit arts.ideastream.org. And if you're interested in hearing Jordan and Alvin, particularly, their new recording is River. And the Alvin Frazier Group is playing tomorrow at Bobby D's Gateway in Bedford. So you can check him out in real life and seeing how that goes for you. We put out a lot of thanks to Peter Graves for his technical assistance today.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to thank our virtual applause crew. I guess we call them virtual, but they're real live people, and they consist of Jean Marie Papoy, Al Dalhausen, Joe Sheppa, and Mike Vendelin. Carrie Wise is our managing producer of arts and culture. Our applause performances is produced by Dave Diorio. I'm IdeaStream Public Media's David C. Barnett, inviting you to stop back and join us next month. On December 10th, Friday, we're going to celebrate a tuba Christmas with musicians from the University of Akron. Until then, enjoy the fall weather. Come back and see us next month. Thanks for joining us today.